Good morning. Hi, Nancy. How is everybody doing? Nice to see you all. Buenos dias. Buenos noches to you. I'm happy to be here today. You can see my background. It was meant to be outside and the power source would not work, so I had to reconvene into this office room with a lovely musical guitar. Oh, it's only 4 p.m., so buenas tardes. Yeah. Hi, Sharon. Good morning. So today we're going to have musical guitar energy in our live stream. And we're going to have dog barking energy. Maybe, because I tried to get the dogs to stop barking and they're not really, and that's okay. Just like in meditation, we work with what's in the moment, and it's kind of like the serenity prayer, if anybody knows that from 12-step groups. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So the things I can't really change are like easily change. I can't change the power source not working, the plug not working. I can't change easily if the dogs are barking. Courage to change the things that I can. My reaction and my response to the outside circumstance. And then wisdom to know the difference. Hi, Joanne. Good morning. So I'm glad to see so many wonderful community members here. Some I know very well. If you are new, please say hello if you would like. Please give me a follow here on Insight Timer. And you can follow me everywhere. I am recording this. It will be available as a video on my YouTube channel, so follow me on YouTube. The one from the other day, we did a very beautiful, powerful, guided visioning Reiki journey. So that's being processed right now and will be available soon on my YouTube. So if you subscribe there, you'll get notified when that's available. And this will also be up in the coming days. Hello, Nancy. So we've got 2 Nancys in the house. And I'm actually staying with a woman named Nancy here. So, yeah. Speaking of like this idea of the serenity prayer, and if there is any 12-step fellows that want to say hi, please say hi. I am the code we use is I'm a friend of Bill, meaning Bill Wilson, the founder of AA, Bill W. So this idea about the serenity prayer, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. So think about one thing or many things in your life where this could be useful or could have been useful in the recent past, or maybe something coming up in the future. that you've done what you can, you've let go of it. There's nothing for you to do aside from let go of worrying. That might resonate. So I want to share a very recent experience that's powerful about that. And yesterday, I I had set up to rent a car for a few days here. I'd set it up through the internet, through like a third-party site. So it was the first time using that, and I was skeptical but hopeful that it would work. And, so I had the Nancy here, which is my sister's mother-in-law, drive me to the rental car place. I said, just wait a minute, let me go in and check, let me make sure that they have my reservation before you drive away, and then I'm stuck here. So she did, and they had the reservation, so I waved her goodbye. And then as we went through the process of checking in, they were like, you need to have your own personal car insurance. And I don't have that. Because I don't live here and I don't have a car. I said, no, I don't have any car insurance. Oh, sorry, we can't rent to you. So you can imagine, the cascade of reaction and that went on inside. If any of you have been in similar situations or just can identify in whatever way that you can, of like being told something unpleasant that's inconvenient. And I mean, is it something that in a month I'm even going to remember, much less a year? Likely not. Aside from maybe telling it as a story of like, a spiritual and personal development story. But in the moment, it was very real. There was this flare of heat in the body. There was frustration, irritability, not really anger, but, a hot emotion. And Michael Singer, my favorite spiritual teacher, who I am going to see next weekend and have a few of you coming, which is amazing. And all are welcome if anybody wants to last minute take a trip down to Florida to see Michael Singer next Sunday. It'll be a week from right now, so I won't be having the live stream next weekend because I'll be doing that. But what he says... One thing he says is, like, once you start living in this space that he talks about relaxing and releasing and being mindful and present and, letting go of preferences, letting go of resistance, that he says once you've done this for a while, and I'm not one of these people, but I caught a glimpse of it. I'm not there yet. But he says once you really start practicing this relaxing and releasing and being in a seat of like witness consciousness, being the observer, that what will happen is the time between the event and then your response will feel like it grows bigger and bigger. So he says what will happen is eventually you will feel like you have all the time in the world to react or respond to whatever the situation is in the outside world. And then what he says is eventually you can't turn it off. It's just part of your new programming and your new makeup, that instead of, the old egoic small self reacting, having opinions, getting upset about everything, that once you start this process, that you will start to notice space, and the more you practice it, there will be more and more space to where then you can't turn it off, and that there's just all this space. And so yesterday, I noticed this to a degree to where, okay, they told me you can't have the car. I notice the reactive energies inside along with the reactive thinking. But there's like a buffer zone now. There's a buffer zone of awareness. And where I wasn't totally engulfed and overwhelmed by emotion to where then it drove my thoughts and actions. I mean, how many of you have seen people or have been the person, and I have been both, where you see somebody like getting irate about something that really they can't, there's nothing that can be done about it. You know, maybe something's like a late airplane or a late bus, and or things like that where you might miss something, where and so this was that, this place's policy was, I cannot rent the car. Okay, the small self, the ego, the old patterns would want to argue with that reality. And Byron Katie, one of my favorite quotes from her is, when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. And it's so true. And she also has another quote that I love that goes along with that where she says, reality is my God, because reality is. And so even like extrapolating that down to, this little situation in the rental car place of like, if I want to argue with the reality that their policy is they will not rent to me because I have no insurance, I will suffer. So, hi Alina, hi Friendly Paws. So I had this awareness. So Michael Singer calls it your seat of self, or your seat of consciousness, or even your seat of awareness. But there's this seat that's like back behind what he calls the personal self, which is the reactions, the responses, the preferences, the needs, the desires, the attachments, the fears, either the clinging or the resisting. I was very much in resistance to not being able to drive out of there with a car. I had this whole day planned, and actually I was supposed to meet somebody 20 minutes from then. Like it was inconvenient. And yet, I noticed all of this, and, my mind went to, well, I should try and like argue with the customer service woman. Why can't you? I mean, that just came in through my mind. It's like, well, she doesn't do it. It's not her decision. So there's no reason to say anything to her except, okay, thanks for letting me know. Instead of trying to argue with reality. And then my mind went to, well, on the website, like they should put that on there so I wouldn't have booked it, like the arguing that happens. Who all can relate? But so like the ego and the small self went to those places to try and argue, and it was like, well, there's nothing there. Because there's nothing that can be done. So I just got to be very present and just noticing the energies in the chest, in the heart. And then handle it. Okay, that's not happening. Now what? How am I going to deal with this? Somebody's on their way to meet me, somewhere else. I need to message them, tell them what's happening, get a plan B going. And I handled it. It really, they came and picked me up. They took me to another rental car place. I called them. They had the car. I got a car like 30 minutes later than I planned. That was the big deal. But in the moment, it feels so large. So, practicing with these, so Michael Singer always talks about traffic and weather, right? Work with the low-hanging fruit first, meaning, ooh, it's the weekend and you had this big day planned and, you're going to go on a picnic and then you wake up and it's raining. I mean, definitely can't do anything about the weather. So how are you going to work with yourself there? It's a perfect place to practice relaxing, releasing, everything I'm saying. Traffic. You pull up, to the exit and there's a million cars and there's an accident and whatever and you can't go and there's no way to get out of it. How do you work with yourself? So you start there and then you build to like this situation, which was an inconvenience, a slight inconvenience, and it was more expensive. So the mind definitely had opinions about, the expense, it was quite a bit more to go to the other place. But still, I mean, it's not a huge thing. So Singer talks about practicing your scales, right? Like if you're going to learn the piano, you don't sit down with Beethoven, you sit down with chopsticks. So it's the same thing with working with ourselves here. And why do we do this? To feel at peace. To not lose our center. I didn't intend for this to turn into a Michael Singer talk, but it is, and that's fine because, perfect timing since we're going to see him next week. But, that's why I love him so much, because his messages are so applicable and simple and real life, And what he says is, what's the secret to everything? Like the secret to peace, the secret to not getting in suffering. And he said if you could boil it down to one thing, he would say, don't ever close. Don't ever close. So what that means is don't ever close your heart. Don't ever close your energy. Don't ever resist or judge the moment. Don't ever close. So if you wake up and it's raining and you wanted it to be sunny and you feel that contraction, open. Remain open or be present enough and do your best to be open. The woman tells me she can't rent me a car. I feel that coming up. Don't close to it. Don't push it down. He says we have internal hands inside of ourselves. Don't push that back down. Let it come up. Let it move through you because it's life moving through you, because it's God moving through you. We are the experiencer. We are the experiencer. Life is the experience. Life is God. Reality is God. When we resist it, when we judge it, when we don't like it, when we don't want it, we are resisting the flow of life, and that creates suffering. That's a great idea. Friendly pause. Do the opposite of what you think. So yeah, in the moment, like in the rental place, it's like, man, they should have a disclaimer on their thing, and it's like, oh, I should argue. Like, no, do the opposite. Say thank you and do nothing. So you practice with all of this. so that when you go home for Thanksgiving, when you go home for holidays, when you see your ex, as Michael Singer says seeing your ex becomes a spiritual experience. So that you can have some muscles built for those difficult situations. Hi, Jessica. I have been in the fire of triggering difficult situations with family since I've been here. And it's been a challenge. It's been interesting. I've been doing my scales in Bali and Thailand for years leading up to this. Yeah. So how are you all doing? So today, and until I get to Mexico, we will be doing Reiki and Ancestral Clearing during these sessions, which is only 2 more weeks. I may schedule a couple more lives here and there. I would like to do another Michael Singer. We were doing a Surrender Circle Michael Singer talk when I was in Bali, and we didn't finish that talk that we were listening to. In fact, we only got 10 minutes in. So I will set up a live for that. Yeah, and just stay tuned and stay scheduled. And again, if you are new here, don't forget to follow me. Give a donation here through the app if you'd like. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube. All my replays are there. Check out my website. I also do life coaching, spiritual life coaching. I'm a Reiki Master and intuitive. And part of the coaching, I do all sorts of coaching specific to people's unique and specific challenges and goals. So I tailor it to you or whoever I'm working with. And also I do sometimes have some coaching clients around sugar addiction recovery. I had somebody reach out today, so yeah, was thinking about that as well. Something else that I offer. So follow your inner guidance. And I wonder, is that Christina? It looks like maybe, but it's hard to tell from the profile pic if that is you. Hi, J.E. Hi, Wendy. This is the time today. Right now I'm not having a schedule like that's set in stone. I'm moving time zones, moving to Mexico soon. Next week I'm not doing anything next weekend. So there will be one more SNL time, Thanksgiving weekend. And then it will shift again. So thank you for being here and stay tuned. And my plan, as far as I know, I will be in Mexico for a long while. My hope and my intention is I'm going to be in the same spot for a long while because I found this great place in Mexico. And you never know till you get there. So, yes. Yeah. How is everybody doing before we jump in deeper? We just had a beautiful full moon. I took a pic yesterday from the car. Like it was it was as big as the sun, but it was a big orange ball at night. It was amazing. But yeah, the pic doesn't do it justice. But how is your full moon? Please, somebody share with us, what moon is this? In what sign? Is it a super moon of some kind? I know somebody will have that information. It's been intense. Going once, going twice. Hi, Susan. Interesting. Ooh, it's been in Taurus. Oh, isn't it like a second? There was a first one in Taurus like a little while ago, and this was like the follow up, which means something like coming around full circle. I don't know. But yeah. Anybody with... Ooh, thanks, Joanne. I was thinking you might have an idea. It was a super moon. It definitely was where I saw it. I mean, it looked super. I know it doesn't mean about how it looks. A beaver moon or beaver moon. Huh. Ooh. That sounds divine. Forest bathing. Oh. Ooh. I kind of saw the moon the other day. I was like, oh, it's getting full. Just, my life has been very full at the minute with family. And also, it's a great balance. I have plenty of time for my work, my clients, family. Actually, I had a client come from Toronto area to visit me this weekend, and that's so special and touching. And they make jewelry, and they made me these two beautiful bracelets that are like stones, Amazonite and lotus seeds. So yeah, and if y'all are interested, you can look it up and you can buy online her designs, Rise and Rose. I'll just type it in. And I wasn't planning on promoting, but whatever. She's great. So it's like Rise and Rose Designs, or maybe it's 2 words. I'll just type that. So, oh, it was a beaver moon, Joanne. I didn't want to make an assumption. Yeah, and I know it's a bit dark in here, but so, all right. Let's get into the Reiki and Ancestral Clearing that we're going to be doing today. And actually, before that, although I don't have my cards here with me right now, I did want to feel into like the collective energy, because cards are just a tool anyway. And they're not really required, although they're helpful and fun. But yeah, I mean, there's something around the energy of this full moon that's coming through for everybody, in that it is bringing up like getting an image of a wound opening, like a diseased wound opening in like the shit coming out. And it's really painful, uncomfortable. It can be very easy to revert into reaction and all of the things I was talking about earlier, and resist it and not want it and not like it and get lost in it and it be difficult and it be uncomfortable. And this could be with any area of your life. Has anybody had that experience besides me? But the thing is, this shit is here. It's here anyway. So it's not that, yeah, shadows. I'm glad you said that, Christian, because that came to mind too. It's like shadow work. The shadow is here. It's always here. So sure, you can ignore it and go about your life. And also, if things are pushing up against your stuff right now, it's so easy to revert and go into wounded child survival protection mode. And that's okay. That's just the natural first reaction. Joanne feels it too, feels me. So, like, I can really tune into that energy of just, bleh, like, and see, the thing is, like, again, that's the first reaction to that energy. And it's okay. But when we stay with it and we give it space to be here, and we relax around the edges and we be present and mindful, and we don't resist it, and we don't want to push it away, and we don't want to judge it, and we don't want it to just be gone. But if we can just work with letting it be. Yeah, I can just feel it in this moment. Like, I think I'm feeling my own shit and the collectives right now. Alyssa, resonating deeply. Gunky, yes. I mean, honestly, it's this like disgusting, like, is the first, my first human reaction to the energy. It reminds me of Spirited Away. For those who don't know, it's one of the most amazing anime movies of all time. And it's a bathhouse. It's set in this like amazing, magical, multi-dimensional Japanese bathhouse. And it's a spirit bathhouse for spirits. And they come and they relax and they get these treatments and things. And like this one comes in that's this huge, it's like a Jabba the Hutt for those that are old enough to know who that is. It's like this big, nasty, gross blob of just black and oily, gunky, heavy energy. And he comes in, you know, and everybody's like, ooh, all the workers. Yeah, and then he gets into this huge bath with all of these bath salts and bubbles. And I'm trying to remember, I've seen it so many times, but yeah, it starts cleansing away all these layers of dirt and mud and black and gunk. And then somebody gives him this like magical pill thing or something, or yeah, something. Anyway, it's a long story, but he takes this thing and then he starts throwing up all of this stuff, like crazy things, like bicycles and boats and like junk. Yes. So that's kind of the energy that it feels like when I tune into this for us and the whole is like, okay, if we're just, it's kind of like when you detox for health reasons. Has anybody ever done like juice cleansing and fasting and all that stuff? And it's like you think you feel pretty good normally and you think you're maybe fairly healthy, and then you do a cleanse and oh my god, you feel like shit. And then maybe you even have a cleansing reaction and you're like in bed with a fever, or you're releasing all of this toxic stuff, but then you feel better. Like that's how this is. It's like that's the message of this message is like it's intense stuff. It's heavy, it's dense, it's challenging, it's old, it's triggering, it's generational, it's ancestral. You know, those of us here in Insight Time, or those of us here in this talk and in the community, you know, we are the cycle breakers. So we signed up for it. Even if we don't remember, we signed up for it. And it's like, this is what it means. It's kind of like, too, if any, or maybe like if anyone's done, oh, I'm going to do the master cleanse and I'm going to feel so amazing. And then it's like day 2 and you're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. Why did I do this? Or alternatively, like a psychedelic or like a plant medicine or something like that. Like, yeah, I'm going to have a spiritual journey. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to see God. And then you get it, you take it, it starts kicking in, and it's like, oh my effing God, I want out, stop, I want to get off. I don't want to see my shit, you know. Some of you are feeling like that. Even like for me and my trip here, I mean, I knew, of course, what I'm coming back into, and also I didn't know it was going to be like this. So it's kind of similar now that I think about it, of like, oh yeah, I'm going to go, it's going to be great, and it is great. And it's also, life is not black and white. Life is gray. Life is all of it. It's the high and the low and the up and the down. Hi, Butterfly Rain. Great, Christian, because, you know, any type of clutter, any type of things taking up space, or however things are arranged in our homes, you know, it's a symbol. It's symbolic. So actually decluttering and cleaning out physical space does something to us energetically. Thank you. So, you know, the message is like, don't get lost in the junk. Don't get lost. And like, that's a great analogy, Christian, of like, oh, I'm going to go like clean out my basement. And then you start opening the boxes to go through the stuff. And then you get lost in all these memories, or you find these old like bills you thought you paid, or And you're like, then it's, oh, this is going to take an hour to go through this one box, and then it takes all day, or you don't even finish it. Like, so the invitation here with all of this is, with however this yummy energy is showing up, because it's just you know, it in itself, whatever that it is for you, it's neutral. You know, for me, like the most neutral way I could look at it is, it's low vibrational energy. To me, that has very little judgment. You know, everything is vibrating. Some things vibrate at different frequencies. For me and my beliefs, God is vibrating at the very highest frequency that we call love. That's why we love love, and we love God, and we want that. But it's really just a vibration. And so in this dark stuff and the gunk and all that, it's a lower vibration. So it's like, if I can just remember, and kind of like I was saying earlier in the beginning about just, can I not get lost as best as I can? And if I do get lost, I know I will get found. I know I will come back to awareness. I know I will come back to presence and mindfulness and right thinking, and come out of fear and come into love eventually. Yeah. And see, I love that you said that, butterfly rain, because that's what I was saying earlier of like, this stuff is here. It's not like it's brand new and suddenly appearing. It's here. It's been hidden in the shadow. It's been in the basement. It's been in the boxes. And so this time, this full moon, whatever, if it's the moon, if it's just where we are at as a collective or individually, like, this stuff is, it's already here. So it's coming up. And Tara Brock has I love what she says, attend and befriend. Attend and befriend. So we can attend to whatever this is, and then actually befriend it, instead of going into reaction of, get it away, get it out of here, I hate this, I don't like it. Michael Singer says, when your stuff comes up, throw it a party. So this gunky, junk, shadow, blah stuff, when you notice it, throw it a party. Awesome, you're here. Yay. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And breathe. Because it's just so natural. It's survival instinct. Resistance, wall, block, don't want, push away. Awesome, hanging out. Yeah. It's not pleasant. So you have enough awareness to where you can work, like, okay, be in the unpleasantness, but stay long enough and work with yourself and with hanging out with the fears, to where what happens is your presence will transmute it. Great question. Hi, Lucy. Yeah. Well, the first thing, Lucy, would be to want to want to increase your awareness. To first have a desire to do it, and then, even more than the desire, have an intention in your days. I'm going to have an intention to have an increased level of awareness. And the perfect place to start that is in meditation. So, and it's great because awareness is the first step. Oh, awesome. So, desire, intention, and then commitment. You know, Michael Singer and other teachers talk about, like, you have to have an unwavering, full focus commitment. If you want to awaken, if you want to be free from suffering, if you want to realize yourself with a capital S, it takes a moment by moment, full fledged commitment to where that's most important, more than making money, more than family, more than job, more than anything. And most people don't have that. I don't. I want to have it, but I'm not there yet. And this is Michael Singer's talk that we listened to a few months ago, Give Up on the Old Way, which is in my YouTube playlist of Michael Singer talks. Listen to that. He talks about this. Like, if you're really serious about awakening and being free from creating your own suffering, that you have to give up on the old way, the old paradigm of living, which is giving up on the outside world giving you anything to make you happy. It's my name with an M in the middle, as in Marie, my middle name, Natalie M. Speakman. So you can even just practice with that idea. We are so oriented to needing something from the outside. It's human, it's common, it's normal, it's okay. And also, everyone hearing this is to a place where you can, and it's available for you to evolve into something greater, into something more, to where your peace is not contingent upon the outside world. And that's my highest intention. Like, for me, it's my soul's goal in this lifetime is to live unconditionally. And what that means is, no matter what happens outside of me, I will not allow it to move me off of my center. And that Singer says in this talk, Give Up on the Old Way, that instead of wanting things from the outside world or pushing them away because you don't like them or trying to get more, that the primary focus becomes internal. And Rupert Spira, he's a non-dual teacher, he talks about this too, that the internal world becomes the primary focus prior to the external world. And that working with the energies inside is primary. Normally, it's the opposite. We try and manage and manipulate the outside world so that we feel different inside. This is the total opposite Like Friendly Pause says earlier, do the opposite. So, I feel a feeling of contraction. I feel a heat. I feel, a tightness or a heaviness or whatever the sensation is in the body. Attending and befriending. And that's the gunk stuff, right? I mean, what we were saying earlier, this thing about the gunk and the challenging situations and energies, the boxes, the shadow, that whatever emotions or energies that come with that, to throw at a party, relax and release, befriend it, allow it, celebrate that it's here, never close, as Michael Singer says. Don't close to it. And Singer says if it gets pushed down with pain, it's going to come up with pain. So it might be emotional, like there might be tears. But all that this energy wants is to be expressed. It wants to be respected. It wants to be given space to be experienced. Because when we push it down and we push it away, or we cling, then we're not letting it digest. And so we have a Shakti flow. We have this, channel of energy, and all the stuff we've resisted or clung to, we put on top of that flow. And that's where the suffering is. So this stuff in the outside world now for you is coming up against it. This gunk is feeling like shit. But it's here because it wants to be honored and allowed to move through. So that's your practice and mine too, to establish that seed of self so that I can be the observer of this moving and not get lost in it. And it's not easy, it's simple, and that's why you start with things like traffic and weather and little inconveniences at the rental car place. So we'll go ahead and end today with some Reiki and ancestral clearing. So go ahead. You close the eyes. And just focus on the breath, taking some slower, deeper breaths. As the Reiki energy is being channeled. And just for all of you, whatever this energy is that we've been talking about, however it shows up for you, whatever it looks like for you in your mind's eye, however it feels, just imagine it's out in front of you. And just notice the feeling in the body as you observe it. And you can notice too, like, how far in front of you is it? Is it a mile away? Is it 2 inches from your body? That could be good information. And for some of you, you might even get your energetic hands and pull it out from the body. You might notice that it's like specifically stored in an area, and just use your energetic hands to gently pull it out and pull it outside the body so that you can see it. And just notice what comes up for you. You may yawn. This is the Reiki. For some people yawn, some don't. Just whatever your experience is totally fine. So welcome, surrender, relax, allow. And just allow this energy just to be. It doesn't have to perform, it doesn't have to change. It can stay exactly as it is. And this is a very subtle yet powerful idea, because usually when we work with ourselves or we work with energies, it's so easy. We do it because we want it to change. We do, whatever it is, we do it because we so it'll go away, so we can feel better, right? So if there is that there, it's fine. It's so common. Just notice. Yeah. And then see if you can shift into an energetic stance of unconditional positive regard, of allowance and total surrender and acceptance. It's okay. You can be here as long as you want, as long as you need. Because anything else is conditional, and it's going to have like a preference attached. There's still going to be preference and clinging and resistance if we're conditional with it. Just notice what it's doing. What color is it? Is it changing? Is it growing? Is it shrinking? Is it becoming lighter, darker? Does it have a texture? Does it have anything to say to you? Is it like morphing into, maybe for some of you, like the shape of a person, or does it represent something or someone? And just be the observer and the witness. And then you might want to speak to it in your mind's eye. It's like, I see you. It's okay, you're here. Have a dialogue. You might want to ask, like, what do you need? How can I help you? What do you represent? Just being curious. You could even say thank you. Thank you for showing up, for showing me what's still, here to be healed, to be loved unconditionally, to be embraced, accepted, allowed, forgiven. You can continue with the Ho'oponopono. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I'm sorry for pushing you away, not wanting to deal with you. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you for holding all of this stuff I wasn't willing to look at. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And you can add on to the end, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I forgive myself. And feel what starts to shift. And now notice how this energy that we've been working with, what shifted, what it's like now. There's no place or needs to be or go, or nothing needs to have had occurred. I just notice if anything shifted and how you feel, or how it looks, or how you're experiencing it. And then you can choose how you want to proceed with this. For some of you, you may feel comfortable to release it and let it go. And you can imagine that in whatever visual comes to mind for you. And you can have the intention that this is released back to the universe, blessed and transformed. And some of you may not feel to do that, and that's okay. So if you don't feel that, then where do you want to store or place this energy in a way that feels safe to you, that where you feel you're in agency and empowered, that it's not like taking you over, or you're not getting lost in it, but that you are in your sovereign self. And from that space, what do you choose to do with this? And you could even let it know, like, okay, you can, stay over here in this whatever bottom drawer, and you're going to stay there and be still and quiet. And you can come along for the ride, and you're not going to make decisions for me. You're not going to take over. I'm not going to allow that anymore, or whatever it is for you. But just a way for you to regain your agency. And also still, bless that, love that. In one-on-one sessions, it's easier to work with it because, there's only one person. So you get to, in the group session, kind of discern for yourself and work with it yourself. And I trust that everyone here will make the perfect choice. And just bless it. And bless yourself. Give yourself that Ho'oponopono prayer to yourself. Thank you. Thank you for showing up today, for taking the time to prioritize and be with yourself and self-care and be in this beautiful, powerful, sacred space. I'm sorry for times that I didn't show up and wasn't at my best. Please forgive me. I love you. And just bring in some loving compassion to yourself. You may put a hand on your heart, or gently touch yourself in some way that feels loving. And then take a few slower, deeper breaths. If you care to come to open eyes, slowly, gently, easily do so. And pause and feel with open eyes. Just take in the experience we just had together. It was very deep and powerful. And before re-engaging with the world, just have soft, unfocused eyes, integrating, feeling how the body feels. And thank you all. This was very powerful. Thank you. Hi, Monica. Good morning. You're welcome, Friendly Pause. Yeah. Love how that all unfolded. Hi, Angela. Was wondering, thinking about you today. I also did silent ancestral clearing in the silent part of that session just now, so FYI. And that always deepens the experience, whether it's said aloud or not. So please follow me here. You can check out, I do have meditations, ancestral clearing ones here, free and premium. Join my group, Natalie's Healing Circle. Give a donation if you like. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Oh, sorry to hear that. Interesting, Angela, because have a rental car and I'm in the country, and I'm like, oh yeah, when I lived in the country in the US before, like it's a thing about hitting deer, like, so very interesting that occurred. I'm glad everyone's okay. And the deer also is okay. So stay tuned for further live streams. They're not yet scheduled. And stay tuned for that. And this will be up on my YouTube within a few days. So you can hear it there if you want to replay it or if you missed some of it, as well as all my replays. Thank you all so much. This was very fun and powerful and amazing. Thank you. Much love. And namaste.